He'd been sitting alone for 2 hours, staring at the snow-covered street outside the window of a downtown Chicago cafe. Everyone else had someone, except him, but something in his heart told him to wait. That was Ethan Cole, a 38-year-old billionaire CEO, the kind who usually had the world waiting on him. But tonight on Christmas Eve, he was the one waiting, for a woman he'd never met. Her name was Grace Miller, a single mom who'd signed up for the same charity blind date event, hoping to experience something normal, maybe even magical, for one night. She didn't know her date was a man who owned half the city, and he didn't know she was about to change the meaning of Christmas for him forever. Snowflakes drifted past the cafe windows, landing softly on the glowing sidewalk. Inside, Christmas music played low. Sinatra, Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas. Ethan checked his watch again. 2:47 p.m. The date was set for 7. The waitress refilled his cup. Still waiting for someone? She asked kindly. Ethan smiled faintly. Yeah, looks like she's running late. Truth was, he didn't even know what she looked like. The event was anonymous. Each person only got the other's first name and a time. The idea was real connection, not appearances. Meanwhile, across town, Grace was fighting tears. Her car had broken down on the icy road. Her 6-year-old son, Oliver, sat in the back seat with his teddy bear. Mom, will Santa still come if we're late? She smiled softly, hiding her panic. Of course, baby. Santa waits for everyone. A passing tow truck finally stopped to help. By the time she reached the cafe, it was 9:20 p.m. She hesitated at the door, her thrift store coat dusted with snow, cheeks red from the cold. He's gone for sure, she thought. But when she walked in, she froze. He was still there. Ethan stood up instantly, surprised but smiling. Grace? Her eyes widened. You waited? He chuckled softly. It's Christmas Eve. I figured. Miracles take time. And just like that, the night changed. They sat together, shy at first. Grace apologized over and over, explaining about the car, the snow, her son waiting at home with her neighbor. Ethan listened quietly, genuinely, not like a man used to small talk. He asked about her life, her son, her work. She worked as a waitress at a local diner, barely making rent, but always smiling for her boy. He didn't tell her yet who he really was, just said he ran a small company. For the first time in years, Ethan laughed. Not the kind he gave reporters or business partners, but the kind that came from being seen. At one point, Grace looked at the window and whispered, You know, I almost didn't come. I thought, who'd want to wait for someone like me? Ethan's voice softened. Someone who believes the right person is worth waiting for. They spent hours talking about music, childhood, and dreams. The world outside faded into snow and light. When she finally stood to leave, he offered his coat. Keep it. It's cold out there. She smiled shyly. You'll freeze. I'll manage, he said. Neither realized their story had just begun. The next morning, Christmas Day, Grace found a small gift box tucked inside the pocket of the coat he'd lent her. Inside was a silver charm shaped like a snowflake, and a note, for the night that reminded me what warmth feels like. Her heart fluttered. She wanted to thank him, but had no number, no address, no clue who he really was. Meanwhile, Ethan couldn't stop thinking about her. Her honesty, her laugh, the way she made coffee sound more meaningful than his billion-dollar deals. He called the event organizer. The woman I met, Grace Miller, I need to find her. The reply, sorry, sir. It's against privacy rules, but Ethan Cole didn't give up easily. A week passed. Grace went back to her life, the diner, the bills, and her little boy's laughter. But sometimes she'd catch herself staring at the snowflake charm, wondering if that night was even real. Then one evening, she walked into work and froze. Sitting at her counter was him. Ethan smiled gently. You forgot to return my coat, she blushed. I thought maybe you didn't want it back. I wanted to see if you'd come deliver it yourself. They talked again, not as a blind date, but as two people from very different worlds finding something in common. Customers whispered. Some recognized him, the CEO whose face was often on business magazines. Grace's manager even stared in disbelief, but Ethan didn't care. He was there for her. Later that night, he drove her home, a small apartment on the west side. When she opened the door, little Oliver ran to her arms. "Mom, did Santa bring anything for you this year?" She smiled and whispered, "Maybe he did." Ethan knelt, smiling at the boy. "You must be Oliver," the boy grinned. "You're the man from the cafe." Ethan laughed. "I guess I am." He handed the boy a small box. Inside, a wooden toy car. "From Santa," he said softly. Grace watched him, something about the moment melting the wall she'd built for years. Finally, she said, "You don't even know me." Ethan looked at her. "I know you waited your whole life for everyone else. It's time someone waited for you." Weeks turned into months. Ethan started visiting often. Dinners, snowball fights, movie nights. He wasn't just a man with money. He was a man trying to belong somewhere. Grace learned who he truly was. Ethan Cole, CEO of Cole Industries. But she didn't flinch. "You could have told me," she said. He smiled. "Would you have come to that cafe if you knew?" She laughed. Probably not. He loved her honesty. She loved that he stayed human despite his world of luxury. Exactly 1 year later, Christmas Eve again, Ethan stood in the same cafe holding a small box. Grace walked in, not late this time. Oliver ran ahead, shouting, "Mom, he's here!" Ethan knelt and opened the box, a ring glittering like the snow outside. He looked at Grace. "Last Christmas, I waited for a stranger. This year, I don't ever want to wait for you again." Tears filled her eyes. "Yes," she whispered. 1,000 times yes. Outside, the snow fell softly, just like that first night. But this time, they weren't alone. True love doesn't rush. Sometimes it waits, even through the snow, even through time. Because the right person always arrives, no matter how late.